One of the biggest mistakes when it comes to old money style is that most guys don't realize how simple it's meant to be. They think piling on layers and flashy details will capture that old money feel. But the truth is, it's all about choosing the right fabric, the perfect drape, and timeless pieces that speak for themselves. Now let's take a look at a few classic outfits for every occasion. So starting this off, we got a casual business meeting. Now you can wear what I'm wearing right here, go with that Maverick blazer with a white shirt. I personally believe that contrast creates a little bit more of a formal look. And again, the pocket square I didn't even have to think of. Now keep the trousers simple. You can go gray or even with a pair of chinos. For the shoes, I'd go with the simple pair of loafers. And for the watch, I'd go with the simple dress watch. For my fragrance, I'd keep it simple, maybe go with a mix of lavender and vetiver. Now, what if I'm giving a big presentation? I need to dress it up. In this case, let's go with the classic suit. So if you're a man over the age of 25, I recommend navy blue. If you're under the age of 25, go with charcoal gray. It's going to make it look a little bit older. In any case, we're going with a crisp white dress shirt with that dark red, maybe maroon silk power tie. My dress shoes, I'm going to keep them simple, either go with a dark brown or a black Oxford. Definitely, I'm going to recommend a simple dress watch with a leather band that matches the color of my shoes and belt. And my fragrance here, I'm going to keep it subtle. I'm going to go with something that's got a nice, simple wood undertone. Next up, we've got summer casual. For this outfit, I see you wearing a short sleeve white polo shirt matched with light gray slim fit linen trousers, white leather sneakers, your hair on point, wearing a pair of shades, maybe Wayfarers or Aviators. For a watch, maybe a stainless steel chronograph, and top it all off with a clean, crisp citrus fragrance. Next up, I'm in Chicago for the weekend, going out with friends on a Saturday night. What am I going to wear? First up, a simple, clean, true blue button down. Now, if worn by itself, it may have looked like a dress shirt, but I'm going to match this with a casual olive jacket that's thin, definitely going for something a little bit more casual, and pair that with a straight fit dark denim, and then laced up boots in a dark brown that aren't too dressy, yet aren't too casual. Just right for going out with friends for dinner and maybe something afterwards. Now, the watch here, I'm going to have a little bit of fun, maybe go for a gold undertone or maybe even a rose gold. And for the fragrance, something that's going to catch a little bit of attention, something spicy with a little bit of pepper, maybe an oriental. Next up, we got date night. So again, we're going to start with a casual button down, but this time we're going to go with something with a small repeating pattern. Now I'm going to pair that with dark colored tailored trousers. And for my shoes, keeping it dark, I'm going to go with a black pair of Chelsea boots. Now with this clean monochromatic outfit, the jacket is where I'm going to have fun. So I got a variety of different colored suede jackets I could bring in, or if I wanted to create a softer look, I could go with a cardigan whose texture is going to ensure my wife won't be able to keep her hands off me. So what exactly does it mean to dress like old money? So when you dress old money, typically this means adopting a style that exudes a sense of timeless elegance, sophistication, and wealth. Building an old money wardrobe, in my opinion, is smart because you're building a wardrobe that isn't going to go out of style. So I'm going to talk about particular items that you're going to want to pick up to add to your wardrobe to give it that old money feel. First up, the suit, but not just any suit. You don't want to walk into a box store and buy something that is cheap, made from a couple $100. And the issue being is these type of suits, your cheap ones, are going to be glued right here in the chest piece. They're also going to have they're going to have overstructured shoulders. They are just going to look, they just don't look great, especially when you're sitting back, when you're relaxed. And that's why I highly recommend you look at, suits in maybe the $500 plus range. What I like about them is that they've got, a piece right in here. Basically, they're structured with horsehair and it moves with you. And this is key, that they're structured in a way that there's a bit of movement, because you want something when you put it on, it's incredibly comfortable. Now, do you want to go fully unstructured in the shoulders? You don't need to, but I do like it, personally. Again, try on a variety of different styles. Again, go to the best menswear store in your area and feel the jackets, feel the shoulders. A lot of them actually, they overstuff the shoulders and they don't pack the cotton correctly. This one right here, it pretty much doesn't have anything, just a little bit of structure here. And I know that for me is what's a signal of a better quality made suit. But another thing with the suits is the color. So in general, charcoal, navy, and medium gray. Those are going to be the first three that you want to start with. But if you've already got those, or hey, Antonio, I feel pretty comfortable, I want to bring in maybe just a little bit of pattern. You can bring in a subtle pattern. I always like herringbone. Point being, if you get the right suit, you go with a classic notch lapel. You've got the shoulders right on this. You're not doing anything crazy on this. Everything here is classic in design. This is a suit that could last you 20 years if you take care of it. And if you're looking at materials, you're wondering, okay, what is this Super 120 versus a 110 versus a 150 versus a 180? Know that pretty much anything over 100 is going to be fine. You'll see some Super 80s out there, maybe in vintage shops, and that may be a little bit too rough. Usually the higher the number, the tighter the weave and the softer the material is going to be, which isn't always a great thing. You don't want something with too much sheen or too much shine to it. A Super 120, a Super 140 in worsted wool, which is basically just a tightly woven wool, is in general what I look for. Now, depending on the number of suits you have, let's say it's 3, you want to have at least 2 to 3 times as many dress shirts. It really depends on how often you're wearing these items, but if it's pretty much every day, let's say you're working a white collar job, or you're just simply, hey, I wear suits quite a bit, I think you should have 3 shirts for every suit. And you want to make sure that these are 3 shirts that work. And the easiest way to do this is to stick with a classic white. It's pretty much going to work with any suit color, even a white suit, which I'm not going to recommend as one of your first 10. But light blue is another great color combination, and you can change up the styles of the collar. You can go, right here, I've got a classic button down, which is going to be very casual. We'll talk about that in a second. You could also bring in stripe patterns on the shirts. I think that a very thin blue stripe on a white background is a very classic look and is a great, actually pretty versatile. You can wear this with a wide variety of different suit combinations. That being said, if you want to bring in other shirt colors, look to pastels. You're going to see pinks, you're going to see lavenders, you're going to see mint greens. I think that these are not as versatile as the aforementioned colors. That being said, I know a lot of guys like it, and if it works with your color tone, let's say you've got really dark skin or really light skin, and again, you hold those colors up to your skin and you really just like the way they work, then go for it. Now, what about dark colored dress shirts? Well, technically they don't exist. It's only going to be in the lighter colors that we see dress shirts, but I know that they do exist, but they are more casual button downs than they are dress shirts. If you really like the combination, you're going for a monochromatic look, that's great. It could be your style, but understand it's not going to be an old money look. Now, I talked about I'm wearing a button down collar. There's a wide variety of shirt collars out there. The 2 most common are going to be the spread collar, and by far the most common is the point collar. Point collars are actually made to be worn with a necktie. That's when they look most complete. So if you're going to be, not really wearing a necktie, I would recommend going with a spread collar or a button-down collar. Now, the button-down collar, this came out of the polo field. It's been around for over 100 years. The company Brooks Brothers are the ones that made this popular. I think it looks great on a classic Oxford shirt. Now, the Oxford shirt gets its name from Oxford fabric. And in case you're not familiar with fabric terminology, Oxford fabrics are a basic basket weaves. Now, what makes the Oxford fabric unique is that they sometimes mix in multiple colors. They don't have to, they can go all white, but sometimes you see with that white, they'll mix in a bit of blue, they'll mix in a bit of red, and this gives a two-tone appearance. On top of that, depending on the fineness of the yarn and the tightness of the weave, we can get various types of Oxford fabric, from plain Oxford to pinpoint Oxford to the most expensive and formal and hardest to weave, Royal Oxford. Now, at this point, you may be wondering, Antonio, why do these details matter and why is this an old money essential? Well, the answer is because nowadays people don't associate the shirt necessarily with the fabric, they associate it with a particular style. That is the button-down collar. Next up, let's talk about the polo shirt. I'm not talking about those cheap ones that you can find for 10, 15, 20 bucks. I'm talking about higher end polos. The beautiful thing about the polo, especially for an old money wardrobe, is how it can work with a number of the trousers. You can dress down a suit by wearing it with, a polo. You can actually dress up just a regular pair of trousers or shorts by pairing them with the polo. You're also going to see the polos are going to start to bend. And, I talked about going with a lot of neutral colors. And yes, you're going to see tons of white polos, dark navy polos in the colors, very similar to the suits. But you're also going to see polos in a variety of brighter colors, of colors that, just simply pop a bit more. And this is where I think in an old money wardrobe, you can really have fun with color and still find ways to mix and match it with the other items in your wardrobe. The polo line is going to be for the younger generation. Now, what you need to be careful of with the polo line are these huge logos. A bit of wealth, a bit of money sure makes it a lot easier to be able to pick up the items that we're talking about in today's video. And of course, if a man doesn't have direction, if he doesn't have a reason, if he doesn't have purpose, well, if he doesn't have those things, it doesn't matter how well dressed a man is. He's just an empty suit floating aimlessly. Well, gents, here's the deal. If you're a man in your 30s, 40s, or 50s, looking to level yourself up, to find a community of like-minded warriors out there trying to improve their health, wealth, and purpose, well, gents, if that's you, you need to check out our new community, HWP. Over at HWP, we've got a step-by-step program to help men become their best selves. I've developed this program over the last decade, leveraging my experience as a former officer of Marines, business owner, and father. The reality is when you're 35, 45, 55, it's very difficult to find like-minded men looking to improve themselves. At HWP, we've got a supportive community and we embrace the idea that daily, through small actions, if you just get better by 1%, over the period of months, you're going to see compound improvements and take measurable steps towards becoming the man you know yourself to be. Gents, if this at all sounds interesting, down in the description of today's video, go check us out. I'm putting a link over to Health, Wealth, Purpose, or you can just type it into your search bar, healthwealthpurpose.com. And yeah, you can learn more and see if this program is right for you. The next old money essential on this list is another clothing item whose cloth gave the item its actual name, and that is chinos. So chino cloth, by definition, is a twill fabric made from 100% cotton. Now, as it we seem to be talking about weaves, a basket weave, simple, twill weave, a little bit more complex and more dense and more durable. Not great for shirts necessarily, but amazing for jackets and especially trousers that you want to be able to stand up to a beating. Now, chinos come in a wide variety of colors, and I do think that in a classic wardrobe, you can bring them all in, but the one that you're going to want to start with is the classic khaki, and khaki actually is a shade of brown, and that's why, this chino, and sometimes you'll hear the name synonymous, chinos, khakis, but understand, chino, it's more about the twill weave and the pant style versus khaki is actually going to be a specific color. Now, we talked about suits, but what about the blazer? What about the sports jacket? So both of those, I think, should be in an old money wardrobe. And the question is, are you going to find reasons and times to wear it? I think the answer should be yes. For me, sports jackets are where it's at. Actually, this is part of a suit, but I am wearing it separate, almost like a sports jacket. If you watch any of my videos, the majority of the time I'm wearing sports jackets. Now, why go with the blazer? They've really fallen out of fashion for a lot of people, but they are still in an old money wardrobe because there are so many options, especially when it comes to the materials. So you're going to see serge out there. You're going to see jersey. You're going to see a lot of lightweight materials that are very breathable in these blazers. The majority of them are going to be of a navy color or a dark blue. You're going to occasionally see a regatta blazer out there. That's not part of an old money wardrobe, so skip on that. But what I like about navy, again, this palette right here, and not using just a suit jacket, is that you've got a separate jacket that's made to be worn with a variety of other trousers, other colors right there. The combination with the navy, I think, is a really nice combination. Now, the waxed jacket is a type of hip-length jacket made from waxed cotton cloth, and it's iconic of British and Irish country life. Now, Barber is the classic brand, and there are tons of examples, but I think that there are so many companies now making these waxed jackets. Really, what I love about these is that they are simple in design. For a lot of people, they don't want leather. They want something durable, something they can go through the brush, actually hunt in, or just simply wear around and have a really rugged look. These jackets fit the bill. And this is simply because they were originally designed for men that were out hunting, that were out fishing, that were out shooting. Now, on the inside, historically, we're going to find a cotton jacket used for insulation, keeping you warm. But nowadays, you're going to find all different types of materials. I really like that they've gone towards performance materials. Cotton isn't usually the best insulator. But the key with the waxed jacket is that the outside of it is going to have to be waxed. And this is one reason that some men stay away from them, is because you do need to, once a season, go over and re-wax them. But if you do this over time, and this is really what gives this jacket its character, is that it starts to take on different hues, different looks. You can actually even use colored waxes depending on the color of the jacket. It just really has this nostalgic, really cool look to it, and I highly recommend them. That being said, two details if you're going to get a classic waxed jacket. Look for the tartan inside. That's going to be a particular pattern. It's going to be a bit of brightness, a little bit of color, and around the collar, you want to go for something that has leather or corduroy. So first up, let's talk about Oxfords, in particular Balmoral Oxfords. Some people just call them Balmorals, other people call them Oxfords. I'm going to use both of them. Right here, we've got a cap toe, so it makes it a little bit more casual. But right here, we've got what's known as a closed lacing system. A closed lacing system is when the back part of the shoe, the quarter, actually goes under the front part of the shoe, known as the vamp. Now, this shoe right here in black is going to be a classic dress shoe. If I were to wear this with a dark colored suit, a white shirt, and dark colored necktie, right there, that's going to be a classic business suit combination. Next up, let's talk about the Blucher. The big difference here is these are going to be more casual because of their open lacing system. So the back quarter of the shoe actually goes on top of the vamp. This style has always been considered to be more casual. You can also tell this is a more casual shoe because of the color. You're going to see Bluchers in a variety of lighter colors, although you will still see Oxfords in lighter colors, but I think that lighter colored dress shoes in general are going to be more casual, and the design also signals that this is more casual. So I could wear this with a light colored suit, maybe if I'm just wearing a polo with it or a dress shirt, deciding to opt not to wear the necktie. Now, another classic shoe for old money is going to be the brogue. Now, the brogue, as you can tell right here, is because of all the design. And you're going to see brogues both in open and closed lacing systems. This one actually has a closed lacing system, so a little bit dressier. And there are all types of brogues out there. You're going to see quarter brogues, you're going to see semi-brogues, full brogues, and even long wing brogues. Now, full brogues are also known as wingtip brogues, and that's actually the style that I've got right here. The holes used to go all the way through. Nowadays, they do not. They're for straight up decoration. But right here, as you can see on the toe, we've also got a medallion. Again, it's just a design. It does make them a little bit harder to polish, but I really like the look of it, and it gives a bit of a more casual feel. And let's not forget loafers. Now, really quick, let's define what a penny loafer is and what it isn't. Now, as you can see from the infographic here, the penny loafer, aka the Venetian style loafer, is easily recognizable by its lack of ornamentation. Specifically, it's a mid-heel slipper with an upper part that is slightly open to the kick of the foot and the ankle bone. Venetian loafers are slip-on shoes with no laces with a moccasin-style toe construction. Another key characteristic, and where traditionally some men would put a penny, is the slotted strap stitched across the vamp. In its simplest form, it's a slip-on loafer with a tongue and strap only. Now, when you compare Venetian-style loafers to other styles of loafers, such as horsebit loafers, tassel loafers, Belgian loafers, monk straps, which I know are technically not loafers, but they are slip-ons, and even boat shoes, which have the moccasin design but are using laces, you can see that Venetian style, aka penny loafers, are so much cleaner, simpler, and in my opinion, versatile. So the first watch on this old money list is Omega, the Seamaster. Now, in 1995, the Seamaster got a huge resurgence because of the movie GoldenEye, but decades prior to that, the Seamaster had built a reputation among watch wearers as simply a functional dive watch with a robust case with luminous hands, clear, visible markers, and a unidirectional rotating bezel for tracking dive time. Now, there are tons of variation of the Seamaster, and I have to say it doesn't retain its value super well, but it is still the classic dive watch. And pretty much no matter what style you get, this is going to be a classic old money watch. The next watch on this list hit the scene in 1972 and changed the luxury market. It did that with a groundbreaking design using nothing more than stainless steel. The brand I'm talking about, gentlemen, is Audemars Piguet, and the watch is the Royal Oak. Now, over the years, AP has released tons of different designs, but the Royal Oak continues to be a symbol of the brand's innovation and is a favorite among watch connoisseurs, celebrities, and those in the know. Now, me personally, I don't own one. I've never been that attracted to them, but as you guys probably know a lot more about watches than I do, I would love to hear from you guys down in the comments. What do you guys think of AP? Should they have even been on this list? What do you think? And the watch I'm wearing today is made by a relatively unknown micro brand that hails from St. Louis. So years ago, I was doing my research on micro brands, and these guys kept popping up as the go-to, just the most comfortable bracelet. They were using Swiss movements, and from what everyone said, these guys were punching way above their price point. Also, I wanted the size under 40 millimeters, and this case going across was 38.5 millimeters. That being said, when I saw the dial, just beautiful dial right there with the blue mixed in with that gorgeous brown leather strap, I knew I had to have this watch. Gentlemen, the watch I'm talking about is the Manta Triumph, which, by the way, I like this watch so much, I ended up buying one of their Ocean Kings as well, and the owners of the company are now friends of mine, so I'll give them a shout out because they are an awesome company that stand behind their products, and they're one of those emerging brands, again, that I think when you get one of their watches, you're going to be just amazed by the quality. Now, the next watch on this list is from a brand you expected to see on an old money list of watches. Of course, we're talking Rolex, but the watch I'm going to talk about is actually where it all started for Rolex back in 1926. You see, nowadays, whenever somebody wants to own a Rolex, the most popular is going to be by far the Submariner. But the Submariner isn't where it all started and isn't actually the most versatile of Rolex's watches. For those in the know, the Rolex Oyster Perpetual is where it all started for the brand, and in many people's opinion, this is the perfect Rolex watch, especially if you're just getting started. And straight up, that's one of the things I really do like about this watch is it is their entry-level piece, yet when it comes from a watchmaking perspective, it is perfect in pretty much every regard. The next watch on this list is from Jaeger LeCoultre. Jaeger LeCoultre, Jaeger LeCoultre, Jaeger LeCoultre. Guys, I'm a kid from a West Texas trailer park. I can't pronounce half this crap. In any case, this particular watch has been around since 1931. When it came out, it was a revolutionary design in actually the functionality of what it could do, and nowadays we consider it to be an Art Deco masterpiece. And like a lot of the old money watches on this list, it actually has a pretty cool story. So apparently there were these British officers that were playing polo, and they wanted a watch that could be worn on the field, but could still somehow be protected because the glass and the way that they were constructed at that time period made it very easy for them to get smashed up. Well, apparently that's where Jaeger LeCoultre came in and said, hey, let's go ahead and make the Reverso. So, as the name implies, this watch is reversible. Basically, you can flip it over and the glass dial right there is going to be right on the wrist, and the back of the watch, made out of metal, is what's exposed. Nowadays, this design seems obvious, but at the time, it was really unique. And what was also really cool about it is you could go, yeah, with that base metal back, or you could have an engraving on there. You could actually have a picture. There were a lot of things that you could do with this. So yeah, this was like the Apple Watch of the time. And nowadays, this watch still works because it's understated. It's simple. It's clean. This is a luxury design. And by the way, this is a pure dress watch. The band here, the vast majority of the time, is going to be leather, either in black or a dark brown. You can get custom ones, but the overall size of the watch is relatively small. And again, that's something traditionally we also see in dress watches. First up on this list of old money hairstyles is the French crop. Now, the French crop, with its European origins, can be seen as a modern interpretation of old money sophistication. What you're going to love about it is it's low maintenance. It fits in with an understated elegance, especially if you've got a nice transition between the sides and the top. Next up on this list, we've got the Bro Flow. And if you've got 3 to 6 inches of manageable hair, this may be a style you want to try to pull off. Now, as the name implies, this is a relaxed, cool, laid-back hairstyle. And the way you're going to style it is basically just wear the hair down and you're going to push it to the back, maybe over to the side. Now, because of actors like Brad Pitt, Chris Hemsworth, Bradley Cooper, the Bro Flow has really become associated with a laid-back, cool vibe of a Hollywood-type guy with a bit of means. Next up on our list, gents, let's talk about the brushed-up hairstyle. If you're a young guy, you want that old money, youthful look, guys, check this style out. Now, to rock this style, you do need to have medium-length hair on top, typically around 2 to 4 inches in length. If you want something that is relatively timeless, especially for a man under the age of 40, the brushed up hairstyle fits the bill. I also like that it's a bit more modern, so it's not like feeling like you're back 100 years, which to me screams young entrepreneur. Next up, we've got the side sweep, and the hair here on top is going to be even longer than the brushed up. We're talking about 3 to 5 inches on top, and you need that length because you're going to be folding the hair over. That being said, you want to make sure to talk to your barber, make sure you got it cut right on the sides, and get a nice fade in there. The next old money hairstyle we're going to talk about, gents, is the slick back. Now, the slick back is often associated with power, with control. This is, if you're a Wall Street broker, if you're a guy that lives, you got a place over in the Hamptons, this is the type of hairstyle I think a lot of people imagine that you would have. Now, the slick back has this feel of a polished look. It looks like you put some effort and time into your hair. You've got an expensive stylist, and I think that's one of the allures, one of the things that people like about this hairstyle. It looks like you got money. Next up, we've got the crew cut. Now, the crew cut can feature hair that's a little bit longer in the front than on the top of the head, and it gradually gets shorter towards the back. Now, the length on top is usually pretty simple. We're talking 1 to 2 inches, so this is going to be a shorter hairstyle. And in general, this hairstyle is very short on the sides. Next up, we've got the Ivy League cut. Now, the hair on top is longer. We're talking about 1.5 to 2.5 to 3 inches in length. It's going to be long enough that we can actually part it on top, that we can change things up. We can have a little bit more fun with the styling. In addition, the sides are going to be longer on an Ivy cut. So we're not going to see anything that's showing skin. Usually on an Ivy cut on the sides of the head, we are going to have enough hair that, yeah, it's fully covered. Now, as the name implies, this one is associated with the East Coast and the higher end schools. And it was just a popular hairstyle for a long time. So you see tons of men wearing this hairstyle. It's like the default hairstyle for so many younger guys. They simply ask for an Ivy League cut. And let's not forget about the classic side part. Also sometimes called the businessman's haircut. This hairstyle involves the hair being parted on one side and combed over, creating a neat and professional style. The hair on top typically ranges from 2 to 4 inches in length, while the sides are kept shorter, but not overly short. Again, you shouldn't be able to see skin. Now, of course, you can style this hairstyle in a wide variety of different ways, depending on heat, depending on product, depending on which side you actually decide to put the part. First up on this list, I'm going back to Chanel's 1990 release, Egoist. This is a unique, beautiful, absolute masterpiece. If you want a velvety, woody, spicy floral blend, this is the fragrance you've been looking for. It's timeless, unique, sophisticated, and it's got good longevity. Now, if you want something that you can pick up in stores, let's say you're at Sephora, you're at Ulta, definitely check out Dolce & Gabbana's light blue line, specifically Italian Love. It's got a really strong, realistic grapefruit opening. It can be harsh for some, but again, you can try this out. You can smell it. I think it really cools down. It's a beautiful fragrance and it's relatively affordable. And since we're here talking about the Dolce & Gabbana line, I'm going to go ahead and throw in the One. This is a very popular selling fragrance for a reason. This thing is just, it exudes class. It's going to be more for cooler months, but you got to be careful of fragrances that overuse pepper, that overuse cardamom, that use a bit too much cinnamon because it can be overpowering. So would I recommend Spice Bomb Extreme as an old money fragrance? Maybe. This is definitely pushing the envelope. But if you want a spicy fragrance that's more wearable during the summer and something that flies under the radar, check out F by Ferragamo. That being said, if those are too common for you, two lesser known options, Tom Ford's Beau de Jour, released in 2020. What I love about this is a modern old money scent that in the Tom Ford line, for some reason, a lot of guys look over. Floris 89, on the other hand, this fragrance is probably one of the oldest ones I'm talking about today. Classic, timeless, and popular with those that read in Fleming. Floris 89 is, a fragrance that has been around, but nobody seems to know about it, unless you're a James Bond fan. Now, if you want an earthy fragrance that's a little bit more mainstream, very wearable, check out Gucci Guilty Absolute Pour Homme. This one flies under the radar. Compared to the other flankers, everyone's like, what was this? This was a beautiful, earthy, old school type of fragrance, and probably the most popular when it comes to earthy fragrances that will get you compliments, even with that dirty orange smell, is going to be Terre de Mes by Hermes. This is their flagship fragrance and a masterpiece. Now, really quick, a few fragrances I did not want to leave off this list. We got Penhaligon's Sartorial. If you are dressing up, you're wearing black tie, you're in London, this is the fragrance for you. Next up, you want to be more attractive. You want to draw in the ladies. You want that old school money vibe that's going to draw in the women. Guys, check out Angel Share's Killian. So sweeter fragrances that smell like vanilla, I didn't really put on this list because traditionally they're not old money, but this one is an exception. It's got that smoky, this one is absolutely beautiful. Now, some of you guys are saying, Antonio, what about other timeless items? Well, guys, I got you covered right here with this video. If you enjoy today's video, you're going to love this one. Check it out. Boom, right here. Oh yeah. Come on, click it. Go. You want to do it. Boom.